Hello, everybody. I'm Melissa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials. I'm going to give everybody just a few seconds to join me for this awesome new live event that we're doing. So, I kind of want to be doing these often because we have a lot of new products coming out. We have a lot of opportunities to share products with you that maybe a sample just isn't enough of. And so tonight we're having our first ever Braginar. And I sort of was laughing at myself when I put that idea together. I really wanted a way to be able to show you what it is that we have, excuse me, and share with you just some exciting things about it. So I'm going to go ahead. There's 10 people on here already. Yay. So listen, here's the rules. The rules are that you have to stay until the end. We will do the drawing at the end, and Miss Kelly is on her laptop, and she's going to be the one that at the end, we're going to say, okay, from here to the end is where you have to say, hello, I'm here, I want to enter, all of that good stuff. And then she will go from there on until the end, and that's how we will pick who the winners are. So we will have 6 giveaways tonight, and I will also be talking a little bit about some promotions for people who buy the the Planning for Peace Journal. I had Thinking, Feeling, Willing on the brain today. So so that way, if you don't win and you still want to get on some good action, we have another promotion that we're going to be doing about the Planning for Peace Journal that's going to go on through the 1st of April. So hello to everybody who's joining us. We have like 19 people on here now. Yay! So I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about it. People have been asking me, what's the difference between this year's and last year's? Well, the number one difference is that we have 2 different sizes. 2 different sizes, meaning one is the 6x9 that we had last year, and the other is the 8.5 by 11. But we have 3 versions of 2 different sizes. And so some people have been saying, can you walk me through like which one maybe I need to get? I haven't ordered yet because they really want to be able to see it. So I'm going to walk you through each of those, and I'm going to show you the size difference between the 2 of them. We had a couple of pictures up on our site of the size difference, but I have to tell you, whew, these are amazing. I was like super excited last year when I put it together because this really and truly is it's the culmination of a lot of planning that I have done over the years, and it is every single bit that I put into my own planning for my own kids. And I figured that there were some gaps that I wasn't being able to get across in some of the planning workshops that we had done. So I wanted something that would take step by step by step. So I deconstructed everything last year and really laid out every single step that we do. Every single step. Because I really wanted to be able to really show you exactly what makes us successful when it comes to homeschooling. Because I know there are families that are still, even with the great planning workshops we've had, they're still struggling. And it really came back to me that, thank you for those of you who said that you like the background. Sorry, I have to give my little peace thumbs up here. This is a background that somebody made for me a long time ago, and I was trying to decide what the background should be for today, and I went, oh yeah, we have that. So anyway, back to where I am. So I really wanted to get to the root of what it is that I think makes me different from any other planning that you might do. And it's planning, it's a step that most people don't do. Most people forget to do. And they don't think it's very important. And really and truly, it is incredibly important. It's important if you're a classroom teacher, and it's really important if you're at home. I think it's probably more so important at home. In a classroom, especially in a traditional school, you have a grading system. At home, we don't do that generally. And in a Waldorf school, they wouldn't do that. But even apart from that, I've always sort of wanted to know, what benchmarks do I have for my kids? What things do I need for them to learn? What things do I want them to take forward from here? And how am I at teaching that? And there's really nothing measurable out there that allows us to really be able to track that. The best part of it is to do inner work. And when you're doing the inner work and you're doing all of the pieces and you're evaluating on a regular basis, then you can sort of see where those holes are. And it gives you an opportunity then to step back and look at your homeschooling as a whole, look at how you are teaching, look at how your children are receiving things, maybe how you're approaching them, how they are showing up every day, and maybe some tweaks that you need to make. And honestly, this journal will do that for you. I had some people say to me, can't you please just not put this in the Planning for Peace journal? Can you just not put these pieces in there? I said, no, I can't, because these are integral pieces to the entire whole. And they will help you when you are, working on your plans later. You can go back and look at the pieces in the beginning. So I'm going to show the two sizes, and then I'm probably going to show everything from the bigger size, only because it's bigger and it'll show up a little bit better on the screen. So this is the 6x9. This is the one we had last year, and I know it's mirrored. I'm sorry. Android phones and Facebook Live don't like each other. So if I was on any other brand phone, if I was on an Apple phone, there would be a thing for me to not mirror it, but there's not. So I'm sorry. Just going to have to pretend that this is not mirrored. So this is the 6x9 size. This is perfect to be able to pop in your purse, pop in a backpack, and take with you. It has all of the spaces in here and everything that you need. And I'll go through all of the pages here in a few minutes, but it's perfect size. This is the size we had last year. It's the size that I've used, and I have loved it. But I got to tell you, I did not expect to fall in love with the big one. So I'm going to show you the big one. The big one is it's like it on steroids. So I'm going to hold the two up next to each other so you can see the size difference. This big one has so much more space in it. Now, I don't know that I'm going to use this one for myself. I will probably still stick with the smaller one, but I can absolutely see the appeal to this big one. There's so much more room to write, and then there's so much more room to sort of spread out a little bit and to decorate. One of the things a lot of moms said to me is, a lot of moms tell me that they bullet journal, and I gotcha, I bullet journal too. So this is not in replacement of that. I bullet journal for other things. My school stuff needed to be in a place where it could all be housed together. And, for years and years, I used the method of folding the piece of paper and then using the squares to put everything, all my blocks out. I've done that for years and years. I stopped doing that when I started the journal because it really has it all housed in one place. And I kept losing this stupid piece of paper. I would get halfway through the year and somebody will have walked off with it, or I will have accidentally thrown it away because that I will have accidentally thrown it away because I thought, oh, this was a different incarnation. It was not my final, and it indeed was my final. And so I wanted something that had everything to really have in one space, everything in one space. So I'm going to talk to you about the journal itself, but I'm going to use the large one just because it's bigger and it'll be easier for you to see. And again, pretend that it's not mirrored. I don't know how to fix that. We have tried for a year and a half. Anyway, I guess I could get an Apple phone, but that's not happening. So, and I'm not going to steal Eleanor's. Anyway, so this one, again, we have 3 different versions. The one that I'm going to show you right now is the mixed ages version. The mixed ages version has enough space for some preschooler and kindergartner planning, and then for one older child. And so I thought that was a really good mix for those of you who have maybe some older kids, but have younger ones coming. You still have circle times you want to plan, but you don't need as much space as you do for the big kids. So this one, and it is still broken up into 5 months, and when you purchase it, you should absolutely sign up for the 5-month the emails to get the information for the 5-month training. We'll be doing training, and I've already sent out the first email, but it's okay if you missed it. There'll be another email that'll come out with all of the dates on it that will have all of the dates for the training so that you can plan ahead. And I'm really working to have times that are flexible for everybody. Now, I'm also going to say this. There are not going to be times that are going to hit our Southern Hemisphere moms for a couple of reasons. One, I would like to do a Planning for Peace session with you 5 months before your school year starts, which means July, August. And so we're going to talk about that so that you have your own training that is exactly keeping you on task. So if you are sitting in now for the Northern Hemisphere moms that are starting in August, September, and going to May or June, it's fine for you to sit through, but I wanted you to know that I do have the plan to sit with you guys live and do the exact same training at that time of the year. In fact, I'd like some of my moms that are in the Southern Hemisphere to please message me so that we can talk about how things look for you on that end. I really want to be sensitive to that because I know that Waldorf isn't one size fits all for both hemispheres and for every country. So we have to sort of do some adapting, and I want to be able to adapt with you. I want to be able to help you with that. So, but please, like I said, you are welcome to be here now. You are welcome to take part in this and be part of this training now so that you'll have it later. But I also want you to know that I will absolutely do planning for peace training for the Southern Hemisphere later on in the year. So, okay. So here we go. The first page is still the same. You're just an awesome mother, and I want you to remember that. That's why this first page is here. It's to remind you every time you open the journal that you're an awesome lady. And if you skip this page every time, darn you. You should open it up and check anyway. Melanie says, she asked the question, can I attend the Southern Hemisphere training as well? I start my year in January due to a birthday. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love for you to sit through this one just in case that ever is not the case for you. But for sure, you absolutely can. Starts with month one. Month one is the evaluation process and identifying your goals. That part has not changed since last year. We also talk about rhythm and menu planning and ordering your curriculum in month one. So when we go through the month one training course, we're going to go through every single process, and I will hold your hand through a lot of that. So, and you'll have the opportunity to ask all the questions you need to ask. So if you joined us last year we did the training in the Ask Melissa group, and that was okay, but a lot of people said, I'm not on Facebook anymore. Can you please make it so that it's not on Facebook? So I said, absolutely. So we will be doing our training through Zoom, and it's an easy app, or you can catch it on your desktop, and it's easy then for you to talk back and ask me questions where we didn't have that opportunity when we were doing Facebook Live last year. So this way I think it'll be more interactive, and you can ask more detailed questions as you need to. And they'll be all recorded, and excuse me, you'll have access to that. So again, month one starts there. And I have this quote, and if you watched our burnout webinar, you'll notice some of these quotes. Self-evaluation leads to self-elevation. It's one of my favorites. It's one that I just discovered this year, but it is so spot on. If you want to rise in what you're doing, you have to be able to look at what it is that you're doing. You have to be able to look at how and why you do the things that you do. So then it goes on to my other favorite quote, which is, and I have a lot of favorites, that's the sanguine in me coming out a little bit. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. So whenever you start to think, oh, I can't do this. Oh, mama, yes, you can. So then the next page is our evaluation. And again, they're the same as last year. There's a little different format for the large ones than it is for the smaller ones. So the page count is a little bit different. So you've got evaluations here. Do not skip the evaluation part, especially if you're going to ask me for help, because I'm going to say, could you tell me what your holding the space evaluation number is? So then you'll have to go back and do it anyways, and you'll feel a little bit silly because you'll know that I'm going to direct you back there anyway. So do not skip the evaluations portion. We talk about confidence. When the last time was that you felt confident about things? So that has not changed from last year at all. The goal setting space has not changed either. I just want to show you how gigantic it looks. Gigantic it looks. And actually also I have to show you this one too, because this is the actual rhythm chart. It's gigantic. It looks gigantic in this version. It's not this big in the 6x9, but it's still pretty amazing in the 6x9. So I wanted to show you how big the goal setting area was. The goals it's huge. It's like as big as my head. It's really big. So you have plenty of space to set your goals and to really come back to them and check on them on a regular basis. That's why we have the goal setting spaces in there. And it's not just homeschooling goals. It's all kinds of goals because, we're not just one-trick ponies. We don't just homeschool. A lot of us have physical health that we're worrying about, or maybe you've got some home goals that you're trying to work on, or maybe you've got some goals with your partner that you're working on. This takes you through every step. And yes, every single bit of it is vitally, vitally important to your homeschooling. And if you don't believe me, I promise it is. That's, like I said, that's the one thing that whenever moms call on me to help them with their homeschooling, the first things I say are, let's talk about Let's talk about your rhythm. Let's talk about your family relationships. Let's talk about where all those things are, because those things affect the whole. Valerie says, love the goals section last year. Woohoo! Love you, Val. See you tomorrow. Val is an amazing mom from our local group. The goals section is really, I think, life-changing. And it is, again, something that you'll find in like a mainstream journal, but it's not often something you'll find in a homeschool planner. And the goals section is really to get you really thinking a lot about that evaluation process and why it's important. I also, this is different from last year. So we had the, you keep the actual rhythm for a week, you get that down, and then you start to create your rhythm the way you want it to be. And so I have this in here, and you'll notice I actually spelled rhythm right this year. There was a typo in last year's journal. You know how many times I look at that word every day? Every day I look at the rhythm word, and I cannot believe it was spelled wrong in the last journal. I'm so sorry. Anyways, it's really giant here, and we have included several of them. I had a lot of moms say to me, you know, my rhythm changes for the seasons, and it changes again for, it changes again for the for the holidays. And so I had a lot of moms ask questions about, like, really, can we get more than just one in there? So absolutely, there are. I think there's 4 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there's 4 in here. 1 for every season. Okay, and then we talk about menu in here. So we've got some menu spaces in here. I've got several menus, again, 1 for every season, so that your menu can change as your season changes. Or maybe you're just a mom that likes to rotate your menus, and I totally understand that. We do the same sort of thing. That way you know what you're doing for, maybe this week you can just say, I'm using menu number 2, and you just use that shopping list for menu number 2. And so that way you have it, and it's always there, and you don't have to hunt someplace else for it, and it's an easy place for it. Also, we go through writing a mission statement for your family again, and we redid ours again, and I'm actually really pleased with it. I'm really excited to share it with you guys when we get to that portion. So that's month 1. That's month 1, and ordering your curriculum. Excuse me. Then month 2 is understanding the stages of childhood, evaluating sort of where you are with regards to what happened last year, and sort of so that you know where to go forward. Because really and truly, you can't start the planning process until you know where you've been. Now, if you're a brand new mom who has maybe a 4 or 5-year-old and you're just starting kindergarten, then that's a totally different thing. And this time, though, if you're a mom that's maybe done 1st grade, 2nd grade, or especially the older moms that have bigger kids and you don't get all of those lesson blocks in, the evaluation part is vitally important before you start the next planning. Excuse me. Melanie says, I need a meal planning workshop. Kelly, will you please write that down? We can make that a video. And in fact, I've been thinking about that for a while, because I stack my meal planning. And I make one thing on one day, and then we use it for the whole week. And so, absolutely, we can talk about that. I'll just make another video for that. So Kelly will write it down, and we'll figure that one out. Anyway, so month 2, again, understanding the stages of childhood, evaluations, full year planning. That's the big deal. That's the where I used to do the big piece of paper. We're doing that in here now, and actually writing your family mission statement. I don't know who made the angry face. I'm sorry, you're mad. Excuse me. Anyway, so and again, don't be afraid of the family mission statement. Some people think that that's kind of silly. It's really not. It really informs, it informs how you feel about schooling, and it shouldn't just be something that you write. It should be something that you write as a family. Everybody works on together. Julianne says it was her 8-year-old that was liking the emojis. Soraya really likes the emojis too, especially the unicorn ones. Anyway, so once you have your curriculum in hand, then your job is to read it cover to cover. And I mean that, like, from page 1, like the title page, all the way to the very end. It doesn't matter if it's my curriculum or somebody else's, you need to read it cover to cover, because there's vital information in the front. So don't just flip to the lessons. You want to read it cover to cover before you start this process of planning. So that's why we request that you order your curriculum in month 1. Now, I know that that's really hard for a lot of families, excuse me, that maybe you work with a charter and they don't release your funds until July or August. And so this is what I'm going to tell you. This is a secret. Ask your charter now to order Thinking, Feeling, Willing Plus for you, and most of them will, so that then you have it all year round. You don't have to worry about whether or not your funds have been released. Most charters will purchase Thinking, Feeling, Willing Plus for their families, and we work with many, many California charters. And if there's one that we don't work with and you want us to work with them, absolutely just shout, and I'm happy to become a vendor for them. It is vitally important, I think, that charters hear the Waldorf voice, because if they don't, then they're not very sensitive to how things are a little bit different. And I am always happy to talk to, work with, teach those charter school teachers how Waldorf is different. So if you are stuck in a situation with your charter and you really need some help, send them my way. I'm happy to help them with that. So Nadia asks, do you write a new family mission statement every year? No, but I tend to make some tweaks to it every year. The one that we wrote this year was vastly different than the one I wrote a few years back. The one I wrote a few years back had to do with, I had all 5 children at home, and we were having some struggles between my house and my ex-husband's house, and really getting kids to have each other's backs. And so we wrote that into our family mission statement, that we really wanted to treat our family the way we treated our friends. And so that became part of something that we said as a family in our gathering every day. And we worked to have all of the kids memorize it. So then it became part of them, and it helped so much. You would not believe that affirmation every day that we said together was so helpful overall in attitudes in our home and in our schooling. So while we don't do one every single year, I definitely think that you should revisit it every year and make sure the one you wrote last year still applies. Svetlana asks, will the charters order the planner I already have Thinking, Feeling, Willing? Yes, they will. Yep, you just need to let them know, let your contact teacher know that you have access to hard copies. And usually what they do is they'll, they'll ask me, they'll send me an email and say, one of your members wants a hard copy. Can you order it and send us an invoice? And I will do that. Another thing that a lot of moms do is they will order all of their hard copies when they order Thinking, Feeling, Willing Plus, so then they don't have to think about it again. But I will also counsel you this. This is what I tell most moms, because with Thinking, Feeling, Willing, your hard copies are at such a discount. I suggest that you buy those out of your own pocket so that you don't have to give those back to the school. Most charters will require that you give them back. I don't think they would require that you give this back, obviously, because it's kind of a workbook, but they may not even pay for it because it is a planner. Some of them will. I think it depends. I know Inspire is pretty loose about making sure that they meet all of their families where they're needed, but I know that's not everybody. Other charters are very strict as far as like, it only has to be what it is for, for the student. But like I said, it depends on the charter. So I would ask them for sure. And if you need help with that, just drop me a note. I'm happy to help you. Okay. So we have this evaluation part, and the first one is like evaluating the early years. Now, when we evaluate the early years, it's different than when we evaluate the grades. Evaluating the early years is a lot like overall behaviors. How are they sleeping? How are they eating? Because they're so young, and it's so hard for them to articulate what's going on in their little bodies that really don't have the words that they need in order to be able to tell you these things. So you have to do a lot of observing. So this evaluation portion, especially for them, is all about you observing and how you're observing them. So one of the questions on here is, how am I holding the space and approaching each day with harmony? If this is a struggle, what am I doing to sort this out? So this gets right in your face. It goes right to the point, so that you know exactly what it is that you need help with. Then there's also, because this is the mixed age journal, for the big kids, it would be then, let's evaluate what we didn't get to last year and what it is that maybe we need to go on. So it says, what blocks did we not cover last year that I need to cover this year? So that gives you a heads up right away. I can't just start with the 6th grade blocks. I have to go back and I have to realize that we forgot to do We forgot to do some of the Greek myths, and we better get those finished before we lead on into Roman history. So it's good for that. It's good to help you remember. Excuse me. And then you've got this big overall planning section. So each one of these squares represents a month, and it's way bigger than that folded piece of paper that I used to use. But in here, you write the month and each child and just the overall blocks. This overall planning piece is for you to gain mastery over what causes you to stop doing school. So, and to have roadblocks. So in here, if you're somebody that takes the full and the new moon off, or does certain things Shabbat wise for that, or maybe you're somebody like we follow the tides. So I write the tide pool schedule on here. Maybe you've got other things in your life that affect every single month. So this is where you write it down. Because what tends to happen is we don't do this part, and then we should go headlong into planning, and then we can't figure out why we're always behind. It's because you didn't start here. So other things that we take off each of the birthdays. Like my kids they laugh because they'll go to karate or something, and and it'll be like a friend's birthday, and Ellie will be like, "Didn't you have the day off from school?" Because I always get the day off from school. The kids are like, "No, I don't get the day off from school. Who gets the day off from school?" Me. Anyway, so we put down here anything that's going to derail us. So like for instance, last September, when my oldest son was coming home from his mission, I put on here the dates that he was going to be here. The dates my other son, because my other son came here to greet him, the dates that he was going to be here. My husband's birthday was on here. We did not very much school in September. And I knew that it was going to be that way, but I wanted to make sure I had it written all out so I knew where all the dates were and I had the planning in place. So once you do this part, that's like the very first part of the overall planning. And then you kind of let it sit for a little bit. In month 2, we're also finishing up the family mission statement. Excuse me. And then we also have some journaling pages in here too if you have to write extra notes, maybe a list for the library or something that doesn't fit somewhere else. I've got these little pages sort of sprinkled out throughout the planner. So then month 3 focuses on partners, on the skills that you need. There's a section, this is new for this year, a section for music and foreign language goals. It's not huge because that is not something that is huge for me. So I wanted to give you space where you could plan it. And there is a section in the daily plans for your music lessons. And when we get there, we'll talk about that. But so this is new for this year. I wanted you to at least be thinking of those things. That is definitely one area that I have been behind on when it comes to my own children with regards to not keeping up on music as well as I should have. And definitely we are falling down on nicht sehr gut on our foreign language. And it's because of me. And so I know it's because of me. This gets me making sure that it's in our plan. So Mary Jane says, the charter information is beyond valuable. I can't believe you just spoke on that. We are venturing into a local charter relationship for the first time this coming fall, and I have been wondering, and worrying if we could align your program with it. So feeling a deep sense of relief. I'm so glad. You should always, always, always feel like you can message me and ask me. I deal with a lot of charters in a lot of different situations. And one of the reasons why I don't belong to a charter myself is because I don't ever want there to be a conflict of interest and for them to come out and say, hey, you work for us and you also get money from us. I don't want to be in that space. So we file a public school affidavit or a private school affidavit every year in the state of California. So we are registered that way. We don't do a charter, but I work with a ton of charter schools. So please feel like you can send your charter teachers to me to ask questions, and also feel like you can ask me questions about charters. And I also know a lot about a lot of different charters in California. So, I don't know if I can make a hugely educated guess, but there is, if you're in California, there is a Waldorf Homeschooling in California Facebook group. And maybe Casey, I think you're on that group. If you're still listening, maybe you could post the link to that in the comments for the moms that might need it. And that way, if you need it, then you've got it. And that's a great group of moms. Okay, so here we go, month 3, going through month 3. And again, there's a training that's going to go through all of these months, and it's not going to be like thrown at you all at once. We're going to work through it bit by bit so you have mastery over things and you don't feel like you are, you're, thrown in the middle of it. You're also going to do big block planning in month 3, and you're going to do a little bit of festival planning in month 3. So we have a section on relationships and a little section here for single moms as well. I've been down that road, so I know how that is. And then a section on skills for you to learn. Now, I did something new this year. Last year, I didn't put a completed box here. And I realized that if we have a goal, you have to have a completed box to check it off. And so I added the completed box this year. So you have that when you write your goal out or your skill for you to learn. Maybe it's coloring with block crayons. And then once you feel like you have accomplished that goal, you can just mark that off and move on to number 2. So I wanted you to have a lot of space to be able to do that. Excuse me. And then, like I said, we have just a section for music goals and foreign language goals. And, those might be really simple goals right now. If you're just starting out your first year, or maybe you've been homeschooling for a while, and like me, that's like a weakness of yours, do not overschedule yourself. Let it ease into everything that you do so that you're not overwhelmed with it, because it's really easy to overwhelm yourself with big plans. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate you posting that. Okay, and then the next piece goes into block planning. So this part I'm really excited to show you, and it looks like mammoth on the on the big version, but we altered it a little bit. We made it a little bit prettier than last year. So it's a 2-page spread for each lesson block. And remember, a lesson block is anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks generally, sometimes a little bit longer. Sometimes you might have something really short that you want to cover in a week. I would still use these pages. So there's a lot of space on here for you to put the topics and concepts to cover, for you to put any field trips that you might want to go on, any block notes that you want to make sure that you don't forget. So you're doing this part of the planning, this bigger part of the planning, before you're doing the deep stuff. You are doing this from the beginning. And this is super, super helpful when you then decide, okay, I've laid this all out, and I have to teach 2 months of India or 6 weeks of India, and I don't know a whit about India. Guess what? This is your reminder that it's time for you to go ahead and get started learning about India. And in fact, a mom asked me the other day, a mom that I love and I talk to all the time, she said, at what point do you really dig into things that you don't know? So first you're starting this block plan, and this block plan should be made from either a Waldorf curriculum chart, and we have one on our site. Even if you're using our curriculum that is very well laid out, I still think you need to do this so that you're doing it and you have mastery over it yourself. It's not enough that I have mastery over it. You're the one who's teaching your children. So you need to make sure that you do this portion so that you gain mastery over it. But once you have that part laid down and you can then see what things maybe are not strong for you, then you decide, okay, I better brush up on India, or holy cow, physics scares the crap out of me, or whatever it is. You make your list then, and then you can go from there to do the deeper planning. And that's one reason why I have given y'all an extra month. So, you'll notice that we start in April. So April, May, June, July. That gives you August to either play if you're all done, or if you're not all done, to really make sure that you have those lessons and you're really understanding it. Waldorf is such a different animal for the early years, so there's a stress that goes along with that for those early years. But then it's even different as they get older, and as they get older and the content gets deeper, that's when a lot of moms run away, or they'll decide to try something on the computer instead, or take the heat off. And I have to tell you, you don't have to do that. It really just takes a little bit of extra planning, and it seems like this gigantic thing. But if you listen and do the things that I tell you to do, I promise you'll be able to do this, even if you have a bunch of kids. So, I've been using these principles for years and years. The biggest group I had one year was 4 main lessons and an infant. And it kicked my butt, but we got through. And it was probably one of our best homeschooling years yet, because I had to plan. I had to make sure that all of my T's were crossed and my I's were dotted. every single person got the main lessons they needed, and we were able to get through. And like I said, I think it was one of our best homeschooling years yet. And it was a transition year. You know, our baby was born and she was teeny tiny. So this was the year that we moved to Salt Lake City from Idaho, and she was 4 months old. And when we got there, she was still like, and when you have a preemie, it's seriously like having a newborn for forever. She still felt like a newborn when we moved to Utah. Like, she just was so small and had very much newborn needs. And I knew that if I was going to not kill myself, I had to make sure my plan was in order. I had to make sure that all of the curriculum was in order and I knew what I was doing. And it gets easier as they get older. So when you have been doing several children and your first grader that you started Waldorf with is then your sixth grader, well, then guess what? The one that's now in fourth grade, you've already taught that once before. And the one that's in second grade, you've already taught twice before. So it gets easier because you know the content, but you have to take the time to do it. So I hope that's my little lecture on knowing your stuff. Anyway, so in this one, in this mixed ages journal, there is enough for, I think there are 10 lesson block plan sheets. So for 10 different lesson blocks, I'm going to count them just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11. So you have 11 lesson block pages. And that also means that if you mess up on one, you can just pull it out and nobody will ever know. And it's okay. So I've done that. Oh crap, I messed up this page. I'm pulling it out. Or I actually really like whiteout. Whiteout is my friend. Whiteout or correction tape. So after that, then you've got this festival section. Some of the festivals area is new. The festival sheets are new. There is they're a little bit different, but the one that is really different is I have a whole planner for Advent. The Advent planner goes through every week of Advent. It's a 2-page spread. It gives you opportunities to write menu items, music. And music was another thing that I did not have in the festivals area before. And Kimberly Parsons that wrote our music book, she said, honey, you need a music section. And I said, you are so right. So I made sure that I put a music section in there. I'm just reading really quick your comments here. Oh, Hannah. Hannah says that she's worried about mastering India in 4 months. Hannah, get a piece of paper. I know you're nursing your baby. Get a piece of paper and write this down. I found this amazing documentary series on India on Netflix. And I think it's called Inside India or something like that. I can send it to you. I watched it and then I had Sam watch it with me because there were things that I wanted to cover with India that I just knew I couldn't cover without watching this documentary. He's in 5th grade. Absolutely think that once they're in 4th, 5th, really 5th grade and up, it is totally okay to pull in some documentaries because there are just some things that you would not learn otherwise. We learned about some tribes I have never heard of before. There is a tribe that has 1,400 people in it, is all that's left, and they worship this water buffalo. And it went through this whole like line of everything that they do, and it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. It was nothing we would have been able to get from a book or even from an internet resource. There's this whole other group of people that worship these rats in this temple, and while that seemed like so disgusting to me at first, after I watched it, I was like, all these people that have worshipped these rats for 1,000 years or more, and nobody's ever gotten sick and died. It was super interesting to me. So there was definitely some things that you just can't do when, when you're in a schooling situation, and there's just some things you can't learn without like looking at some really cool documentaries. So I am all for documentaries. Okay. Let's see. Hold on one second here. The Story of India, maybe. It might be that. It's like 3-parters. It's 3-parters, and it's on Netflix right now. I don't know that it's called The Story of India, but it might be. It might be. I will look it up, and I will definitely post it in the comments once I figure it out. Sorry. I was just looking at it today, so we had to go look at some goats and stuff from India. Anyway, so that is month 3. Month 3 goes through and takes you through the festivals. I do not expect that when you are doing month 3 that you write everything out for your festivals, but if this is your first year with Waldorf or you're newer and you aren't doing all the festivals and you kind of want to dip your toe in some more, it's definitely an opportunity to get started by, just writing down some ideas and some thoughts. Because I ask you some questions here, like, what does this festival mean to me? What do I want to take away from celebrating it? So it prompts you to not just do the festival to do the festival, which is never a good thing. Like that's my rant about St. Patrick's Day. All the people that think St. Patrick's Day is just about drinking, and it's not. And so that's my little mini, that's this size version of a much larger rant that I did earlier today. And so anyway, you really want to know what it is that you're celebrating and why. And because we live in this time that people are so disconnected from their traditions, and Waldorf is so much about bringing those traditions back together and really helping you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and not just the what, but the why. And the why is so important because that's what makes it live within you. So anyway, that's my little festival bit. Sorry. Moving right along here. I promise I'm not keeping you up all night long. Oh my goodness, it's 20 minutes to 10, or to 9. I'll go faster. So, past the festivals. Oh, okay, here we go. Now we are in month 4. So month 4, we cover circle time planning, kindergarten planning, and again, this is the mixed age one. I'll tell you what the other ones are. Detailed block planning, and detailed weekly planning. So we sort of go through your commitment to planning a little bit and what you need. And then if y'all didn't catch my amazing Waldorf Homeschool check-in list on the webinar that I did, shame on you. There's one here in your journal. So if you are trying to decide whether or not you should actually expose your children to your naughty ornery attitude that day, you can actually go through these steps. And you can say, I have taken care of me. Yes. Yay, pass. You get to go on to the next step. My lessons are all planned. Yes. Woohoo. Take a deep breath and have a great day. But if you answered, no, you haven't taken care of you, then I say, take a deep breath and spend 90 seconds in the bathroom alone getting ready for your day. And then, if your lessons are planned, yes, woohoo, go on. If your lessons aren't planned, then do you have a Plan B lesson? Because I talk about the Plan B lesson all the time. And if your answer to that is no, then you best head to the park. And while you're at the park, you should be thinking about why you don't have a Plan B lesson. And then you also should think about getting them to bed on time so that you can get into bed on time and that you can get your lessons planned for the next day. But if you do have a Plan B lesson, then woohoo, great, take a deep breath and have a wonderful day. And then you have to get another Plan B lesson in your back pocket so you have it for next time. So I just, y'all have to know, bad days happen. They happen to me on quite a regular basis. Why? Because I'm a human being and my children are human beings and crap happens sometimes. I get it. Like today was supposed to be my work day and kids were supposed to have a regular school day because that's what our rhythm is. Well, Eric and Ellie both had a filling that got loose. So they marched on to Mexico today because we live at the border, or near the border. So they marched on to Mexico to go get their teeth fixed today. And what should have taken like 2 hours took them like 6 because apparently it is a Mexican holiday today. And a lot of people were going back and forth. And shame on us for not knowing it was a Mexican holiday today because they sat at the border for 4 hours. 4 hours. It's craziness. So anyway, things happen. So that meant I taught today. I didn't get to work today. That means I'm a little bit behind. Stuff happens. But you take a deep breath and you walk on with it. It happens. Okay, so Mary Jane says, since having my 2 babies, I feel like I have stopped celebrating almost everything entirely. That's okay. Just start a little bit at a time. All of our traditions have come to a standstill because of exactly what you said in regards to knowing how to talk to and present them to my girls. This resonates with me very deeply. I am so glad. Oh wait, you know what? I skipped a sentence there. Sorry. That's what happens sometimes when it says see more. Anyway, so you said exactly what I said in regards to knowing and understanding what we get out of it beyond a stack of bought presents, which sadly is the foundation of many traditions in America. Yes, ma'am. So, I am very much if I can't present it in a way that moves them, even in their little 5-year-old bodies, to be excited about it, then we might skip it. And it's okay. Because guess what? Next year you can do it. Or the year after you can. It's not finite. What happens when you have bigger kids, though, is they'll go, Mom, isn't it September 29th? Isn't it the day that we're supposed to make dragon bread and dance around and have sword fights? That's what happens when they get older because you've done it all those years. Anyway, so it's okay. Ask your bigger kids to help you when they get to that place. So we have a circle time plan in here. This was not in last year's journal. A circle time plan. It was on the website, but now it's inside the journal. And this would be for, if you can use it for your kindergartner, but I really wanted to put it in here mostly for those that have littler ones too, like the 4 and unders. So, and then we have kindergarten planning, and we have changed this up a little bit. We have a list for circle time songs, some handwork notes each week in your story focus. So this has changed just a little bit over last year. And then I wanted to tell you, we have enough of these weekly block plan pages where you take then the block and you break it into weekly segments. We have enough, I think there's like 33, which is why the Big Kid Journal is so gigantic, because I wanted to make sure there were plenty. I wanted you to have what you needed. And so this gives you enough to, and also because in other parts of the world, in the United States, kids are legally bound generally to go to school for 180 days. Well, guess what? We're lightweights. Other countries go to school a lot longer than we do. And so I wanted to make sure that people that were purchasing this from other countries had in it what they needed. And so I feel like that we have accomplished that this year. And so if you have extra pages, just use them for practice. But you would take it from the big block plan, then you're breaking it down into these weekly segments after you know your stuff. Because after you know your stuff, then you can properly break it down, because then you know what you're doing. And then you would go from this weekly breakdown, and then later in the month, you would go then to a breakdown for the week. So this is where you would write daily plans for Samuel for the week of September 23rd or whatever. Handwork, any handwork that he was going to do that week. Our foreign language goals for the week. And again, I put this in here because I want to make sure I do it. So I know I'm not the only mom. And then other goals that we have for the week. And I save this part, this goal piece, this week's goal, not these pieces, but this week's goal, I write that on Sunday or Saturday before the coming week, because that might change. If I write that 3 months in advance, I'm going to forget what that goal is all about. And so that goal is fluid, and it changes as he changes. I also have place over here, this is new this year, for your music lessons. Again, I consulted Kimberly Parsons on this, and she really recommends, especially for the younger grades, not to overwhelm them with playing too many pieces when they're learning. So her recommendation was sing 3, play 1. And so, and sometimes sing 2, play 1, depending on where your child is. So don't dive in and expect them to be reading so much music and playing so many songs. Of course, they have a repertoire of practice songs that they've already learned from previous months that they would then use for practice, but you're not bombarding them with extra. And I think that tends to happen. I think that one thing that I see a lot of Waldorf moms do is that even though they don't want to compare themselves to the mainstream, they really worry that they're not getting it all in. And you really cannot compare yourself to anybody but yourself. So you really need to be able to slow down, take a deep breath, and really just work on this piece by piece and not feel like it's a race. This bottom part down here is you would put your days then. So for us, we school 3 days. We have a co-op 1 day, and then we have like a library museum day. And so it ends up being 5 days generally, but it's not 5 main lesson days. So I would write, if this were me, I would write Monday, September 23rd or whatever the date is. And then because my husband and I both teach, I would write who's teaching here, mom or dad. So this part I do with Eric sitting next to me, because he and I go through this part together, especially the pieces that are his, because he has different things that resonate to him with his temperament that he needs to write down than I do. So his notes are going to look different than my notes are. I'm the one who does the writing, because otherwise I can't read it. I love him, but handwriting is not his superpower, and he fully admits that. So I'll write it out so that everybody can read it. But he'll tell me. We'll sit there and work on that together. So that's just how we do it. I know that's not the reality for everybody, but because we run Waldorf Essentials, I teach 2 days, he teaches 1 day, and so we always make sure that we are planning this together because it's not just my plan. He needs to be able to have, his voice heard too. And there are, whenever you're a teacher of anything, and this would be true for the classroom or at home, you are definitely going to have things that resonate with you that may not resonate with somebody else. So there are definitely topics that really resonate with him that he will teach way different than I will teach. And so I welcome that. And so if you are in a situation where you have the opportunity for Dad to help, this is a great way for Dad to help. So here we go. So we're almost to the end here. So there are, again, a lot of pages in here, plenty for your school year, plenty. And then we have some pages in here for more evaluations. So this would be month 5, the very end, and month 5 usually happens in the Northern Hemisphere. That would happen like September or after. So this is month 5 and beyond. So we have added some things to this year that were not in last year's journal. Evaluating the first month of school, evaluating struggles, evaluating the year, child meditation, attendance, transcripts, and then thinking, feeling, willing program reflections and checklists. So I'm just going to show you those really quick. So this would be your struggling child, and I take you through everything that I would ask you if you were having a consult with me. I ask you, how are they sleeping? How are they acting within the family? What are their eating habits? Talk to me about their recent outbursts, because even if you do end up getting a consult with me, I want you to have this filled out anyways, because that way you really come to a lot of conclusions on your own before we even have to talk. So there are plenty of those in here for your children. There's a mid-year evaluation. So this is what I do in January. In January, I sit down and we do this mid-year evaluation, and it's based on, where are we? Did somebody have the swine flu in October and it threw us off a whole month? So we're off and we're trying to catch up. That's okay, because when that happens, you step back and you go, okay, I might have to edit some things down, and depending on the topics, for sure. So I do a lot of consults in January that revolve around that. Like we had a death in the family, people got sick, I got in a car accident, all of these things that happened in that fall and early winter. Now, how do we pare down so that we're not super far behind? So that's what we spend a lot of time doing in those January consults. And then we do an end of the year evaluation. This goes hand in hand with that beginning of the year evaluation. So if you had the journal last year, don't forget to do this part, because you're going to do this part and you're going to really be then thinking ahead as you're doing the planning for your child for next year. And it really goes hand in hand. It's super helpful. Okay. Then we have the child meditations. I had a couple people say to me, I just want the child meditations to be in here. You don't actually have to have the pages for me to do them. Great, we did that. That was a great suggestion. So I have the exercises in here. You can do them on a separate piece of paper. I also have attendance sheets. In the state of California, we have to keep attendance. I know we're not the only state that has to keep attendance. So I put an attendance sheet in here for every child that you're teaching. So you can write the month, and you can just go through and mark off the dates that you're doing attendance. I'm going to tell you a secret. I do attendance once a month. And sometimes we go to school on Saturday. It is what it is. I also have some transcript forms in here. These are important for some moms. I have, and I can see why. So if you have kids that are in extracurriculars, sometimes those extracurricular teachers give bonuses to kids that are getting A's, right? Kids that are doing really well in school. And so a few years ago, when Ellie first started karate, there were these kids that were getting these honor roll patches, and she was like, what do I have to do to get an honor roll patch? And he said to me, because she referred her sensei to me, and he said, I really want to look at her transcript. I want to see what she's doing. I said, all right, I can do that. So I sat down and I did the transcript, and it wasn't hard, and it actually was. It was a really. I think that was her. She might have been in 8th or 9th grade that year. It wasn't hard, and it really taught me that it wasn't a big deal to do, and I shouldn't be worried about it or stressed out about it. So I've given you one that is broken up into 2 semesters, and it's super easy to duplicate if you need to do one that's different. Honestly, this is an Excel spreadsheet. It was super easy. So Casey, she tells a secret. She only does it once a year. The attendance. Shh. Then the last pages, this is something that y'all have been asking me about too. For the people that are in our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program, this is for you. And if you're not in our program, then maybe this will entice you to want to come and join us. So I suggest that you go through the program at least once a year. There's enough mom lessons, because often what will happen is you'll start off really strong, you'll get that rhythm wrangled, everything will be good, your inner work's in a good place, you're understanding the curriculum, everything is awesome, you feel wonderful, and then something happens and you fall off the wagon and your rhythm goes in the toilet and things start falling apart, and then you message me and you say, I need help getting back on track, and I'll say, I think you need to go back to Mom Lesson 1. So this allows you to have notes about Mom Lesson 1. It allows you to mark them off when they're complete, all the Mom Lessons, and it goes all the way through here. So right now we have, I think, 15 Mom Lessons, and there's 3 extras here because I have some in the works that have not been announced yet. So I wanted you to have a place to take a few notes and then reflect on it from year to year. So this will be a permanent fixture in the journals from here on in, so that you can, have access to that. So that's the journal. Again, I'm going to go through the sizes. We have the 6x9 size from last year, which is honestly every bit as lovely. I mean, all of the forms are just as lovely. They're just smaller. And for those of you who maybe have more kids than we have journals for, my suggestion is to just buy the digital copy. Buy the digital copy, get a nice binder, and put it in the binder. So for those of you who want to order hard copy, if you are a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, it is in the area of the program where you purchase hard copies. So you just log into there and it's there. If you are not and you want to purchase a hard copy, you can do that through our publisher. And Kelly could put that link up probably to the, sorry Kelly, I meant to tell you about that. Sorry. She can put the link up, or I'll put it up there later. That way you know where you can go and purchase the hard copies. Please pay attention when you are purchasing them at the publisher, because there are 2 different sizes and 3 different journals. So I want you to make sure you get the size that you need and the journal you need. So I'm going to go through them again and tell you what we've got. So we have the mixed ages journals. So that is an early childhood child or 2 and a child in the grades, mixed ages journals. Then we have the grades only edition. Now the grades only is just for 1st grade and up. There are no kindergarten sheets in here. There are no circle time sheets in here. There are no pieces in here for a kindergartner or a child from early childhood. This is just for the big kids. This is for the moms that you've already been through that little kid place, and you are working through, and you're going through with the big kids now. Again, all of the same forms and everything. It's just in a smaller format. So this is pretty hefty. It's over 300 pages, but I think it still feels pretty good, at least in the 6x9 size. I do think that the big kids version, I'm dropping things. The big kids version in the 8.5 by 11 size is pretty heavy. It's as big as, for those of you who have Physics is Fun by Roberto Trostley, the big version is that big. It's pretty giant. But it is still pretty awesome with regards to being able to keep track of everything. I'm going to grab some questions here. Is this journal the record that you would use in case the state would question you on something? Yes, ma'am. Because I keep it on my shelf. I will keep the one that we use from this year on my shelf until I don't need to anymore. So it has everything written down, and I have check marks on things that we have finished. So that was another thing that we actually included this year. We included and maybe they were in there last year, but I'm thinking they were not. We included a completed box on the bottom of these blocks. So you know if you're done. And it's your job to just be honest about whether or not you are done. When you purchase the digital copy, because some moms would just rather purchase the digital copy and print it out themselves. That's totally fine. When you purchase the digital copy from our website, you get all of the journals. You get all 3 of the journals. and you get everybody gets the training that purchases a journal, whether you get a hard copy from the publisher or you get the digital copy through us. So everybody gets that training no matter what. That's afforded to you. But like I said, if you buy the digital copy online, then you get copies of all the journals. So you get all 3 journals, and actually you get all 6 journals because you get both sizes. So then if you wanted to use a binder, you could do that. You could print it out, send it out to be bound yourself. I don't think it's that much cheaper, honestly, because you're paying for paper than it would be to buy the hard copy. But I know that that's the preference for some people, so I wanted you to have those options. I also wanted to talk about the cute, tiny little kindergarten one. It's actually not tiny. I'm going to show you the big size. So the big size, the kindergarten, early childhood and kindergarten edition. The only difference in this is that there are not the bigger kid planning pages in here. So there's no block plans in here. This book, or this planner size, is full of circle time lesson plans and kindergarten story plans. There's enough here for, I think I said 3 children. So it says so on the site. I just can't remember. So to purchase the journals, if you're not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member and you want to purchase a digital, it's melissanielsen.com/peace. So make sure that you have Nielsen, and IELSEN, and Melissa with 1 S. So /peace. So we can put that in the comments as well. So I want to give some things away. So Kelly, I don't know if you're ready, but give me the thumbs up if you're ready. I've got 6 journals here to give away. And I think that what we will do is we will just pull names, and then as you get them, you can pick which ones you want. So Angelique asks, can you show the sizes one more time, please? Yes, ma'am. So this is the 6x9, and I'm going to put it next to the 8.5x11. This is the 6x9 and the 8.5x11. 2 of them together. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay. So also I wanted to tell you, and I dropped my things on the floor, so hold on one second. I gotta grab something. Here I am again. So I have some favorite tools, some really favorite tools. And yeah, I don't know where the other thing went, but I'll just have to tell you about it. So our favorite tools for writing these journals and for putting our planning together, I love color. And one of the reasons being, because I've always had so many kids, everybody's been color-coded. So we're going to give away some favorite tools. I'm going to give away 3 sets of these favorite tools, and that will go to anybody who purchases either through Thinking, Feeling, Willing or without between today, which is today's the 19th, all the way to April 1st. So the favorite tools that I have are these cute, amazing little Stabilo pens. They're amazing. They're awesome. I use them for bullet journaling. They're a lot of fun. And I love this set because they're little, so you can slide right into your purse. And I'm telling you, if you win these, you best hide them. They are not for your child. They're for you. I have pens that nobody's allowed to use but me. And it is okay to do that. You get this package and you best take a Sharpie and write Mom across it. And tell them, if you ruin my pens, you're going to pay for my pens. Do not let them use your pens. The other things that I really love, that I use a lot, are Post-it tabs. And these are great. This is a smaller version of the ones that I used to use. But these are great because there's 4 different colors. So you can use tabs for each child. And it's super helpful. I would just write the first letter of each child's name. And if you're one of those funny moms who has all of the children with the same letter in the beginning of the name, then you're going to have to write really small so you can write their whole name out. But these are great. So for all of the orders between now and April 1st, we're going to pick 3 people, and they're going to get this, and a roll of washi tape to go with it too, because I also love to use washi tape in this journal, and I will absolutely show you how I do that in another video. So get busy. If you haven't ordered your journals already and you're a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, now's the time. And if you're not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, have no desire, totally fine with me, but you want a journal, then now's the time to order it. So I will also be keeping track. If you ordered it from our publisher, then you forward me the receipt so that I can make sure that you get entered into the drawing. So if you have questions about that, shoot me a message. I'm happy to answer them. So let me answer a couple of questions really quick. Would the mixed grades journal work for 1 kinder and 2 grades? It will work for 1 kinder and 1 grade. So my suggestion is if you have a kinder that you either buy the digital, or if you have access to the digital, maybe you want to grab a binder and make your own. Because then you've got 2 kids in grades and 1 kinder. You can print out the pages that you need, and then you don't have to haul around 2 journals. That's really my suggestion is for that. Honestly, I could have come up with so many different combinations. I had to stop at 3 because my brain didn't want to stop at 3. The sanguine in me was like, oh, I could do this one, and I could do this one, and what about the mom that has? Yep, had to. Sorry. So I would absolutely just consider getting a really pretty binder and putting that all together that way. So hopefully that helps. I hope that helps you, Heather. So let's see. Mary Jane says, I have the pens in the big lady size. Yes, ma'am. I like those ones too. The big ones are really good. That's what I have at my desk. But these are amazing for your purse. Really amazing for your purse. And I like the little package that they come in. You covet them. I covet them as well. My children all know they best not use my pens. Anyway, Casey says, love washi tape. Yes, ma'am. Me too. I have a little washi tape problem. I kind of have to stay off Etsy. I'm not going to tell you my washi tape problem. It's just, let's just say it's a problem. Anyways, Nadia says, show us your bullet journal in a future video, please. Absolutely. It is not in here with me. It's in at the computer. I am happy to show it to you. I'm happy to show you the note-taking methods that I use because I use part bullet journal, and I also have this amazing device called the Remarkable that I don't know that I would recommend to anybody who doesn't have the crazy amount of note-taking situations that I do, just because it was expensive, but it is an amazing piece of equipment, and I bought it instead of a new computer, but then my computer died, so now I had to buy a new computer too. Anyway, that's a different story, but I will absolutely am happy to show you my bullet journaling another time. It's not as spectacular as, say, my 17-year-old daughter who has more time to practice than I do, but I do love my bullet journal. Let's see. I will show you my bullet journal. Somebody else asking for that. Okay, so I guess we should go ahead and let's start doing some giveaways. We still have 25 people on here. Kelly, are you ready? Are you ready? Can you give me a thumbs up, Mama? If you are. And maybe let's just start pulling some names. So let's go ahead. Do you have the first name that you want to pull for one of these awesome journals? Anyone? Don't want to miss it. I wonder if she's having some trouble. I'm going to step away for just a second and message her on Eric's phone. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, you guys. Oh, Kelly says thumbs up. Okay, Kelly, do you want to pull the first name? And then we'll let the first mama pick which journal she wants. Oh, okay, absolutely. Happy to wait. I think while we were doing this, my kids went to bed. So it'll be quite nice. I hope everybody's having a good Monday. It's time for me to go to bed because y'all saw me at 6 a.m. Now it's time. Thea, I will murder your last name. Gielow. Hey, lady, which journal do you want? Thea, are you listening? Well, yep, she wrote it. Oh, you want the big one. Do you want the big kid journal? Which one? The one that's only big kids? Grades only edition? This is a big baby? Yes, please. All right. Gonna put your name on this one. Okay, Miss Kelly. Let's pull 5 more. I'm gonna set that up. I don't have enough chairs in my bedroom. So, next one. I could sing for you guys. I'm not going to. Although I do have oats, peas, beans, and barley stuck in my head because that's what I've been practicing for co-op tomorrow, because I have the 5 and 6-year-olds tomorrow. And we're talking about sheep and Farmer Brown, and how Farmer Brown has sheep, but he also grows oats, peas, beans, and barley. Make sure I don't miss it. Thea, if you can send me your, message me your shipping information, then we'll get this out to you this week. The next one is Nadia. Nadia, which one do you want? What you have left, your options are mixed ages big and mixed ages small. Your options are also early childhood and kindergarten, big and small, and also the grades only in the you said big kindy, please. Yes, ma'am. Your name's on this one. All right, 4 more. Pressure's on. I'll tell you a secret. If we get down to the end and you get stuck with a journal you don't want, I'll let you trade it out. Just because I don't want you to have something you can't use. This was fun. Did you guys like this? I kind of like the idea of doing a brag and R. Just because I really have a lot of fun when we come up with something new. And, yeah. I think it was kind of fun having everybody on here. Lots of good energy. I wonder who's going to be next. Mary Jane. Mary Jane, Mary Jane. Which one do you want, lady? So your options are mixed ages large, and then each of the 3 in the small sizes. So you have grades only, early childhood and kindergarten, and mixed ages. So let us know, Miss Mary Jane, which one you'd like. Made you curious what a bragganar was? I just made that word up. Because I took all this awesome, amazing webinar training, and I'm loving it, and I had a lot of fun putting together the last training that I did. But I thought, you know what, I just want to brag, so I'm going to call it a bragganar. Okay, so let's see. Mary Jane says, I would most love the kindergarten and preschool age as big as I can get. Well, I have the little one left. Send me your email, or everybody that's winning, please send me in PM. Send me your information so I know where to send this. Okay, next up, 3 more to give away. Oh, you said meant early childhood and kindergarten, please. Yes, got it. Okay, 3 more. Kelly, I love you. Such a great right-hand woman. She and I are good boss ladies together. She's pretty amazing. She keeps me on the straight and narrow. So whenever you get an opportunity, send her a great air hug or high five, because she's awesome. Could not do what I do without her. Angelique. Angelique. Which one do you want, lady? Mixed ages large, mixed ages small, or grades only. Kind of like doing this Axl Rose sway. No, just kidding. I have been up too long. Okay, Angelique says, I have mixed ages small. I do have mixed ages small. Just for you. Yes, that's the 6x9 size. Yes, ma'am. Okay, we've only got 2 more left. Mixed ages large and grades only large. I mean, grades only small. Sorry, my brain. Told you I'm tired. It's been one of those long days. Somehow, Soraya knows how to just be extra special on those days when I haven't had enough sleep. But it's all good because I know she's in bed now. Suspense is killing me. Who else is it going to be? Oh, yes, I can show the markers again. They come in several sizes. If you're on Amazon. Oh, Sarah Golden. Sarah Golden, you need to tell us what size you want. So these markers, I'm just going to do my little Vanna White. I really need to get our, yes, they're called Stabilo. I need to get our Amazon affiliate thing going again because I think I could have made a mint off of all the Instant Pots I have recommended y'all buy. Anyway, they are Stabilo. This is the tiny set. They're the Stabilo minis. They also come in a full size. The full size is, you know, much bigger, twice the size of this. This is the perfect size for your purse. They are 0.4 millimeters, mini format. They're perfect for writing in your journals. They're not horrible on bleed through when it comes to bleeding through the page. And I like that this small size has a good amount of colors in it if you have several children. And like Samuel would be a little bit miffed because there's no orange here, but he would get over it and probably pick green. So this is a great size. And yeah, that's my Vanna White. Okay, Sarah Golden says, whichever size, can I swap for Candy, please? Maybe. Send me your information. One more, Kelly. Yes, I'll let you do that. You just send me a information. My daughter's. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Is she doing all right? I know she's there. No, she's there. And I promise I did not make Kelly work tonight. She said, I don't want to be bored. So she's at the hospital helping her daughter go through some inpatient stuff that she's got to go through, and she did not want to be bored. Okay, Sarah, send me your information, and we'll chit-chat about which size you want. Okay? So we've got one more to do, ladies. One more. I hope it doesn't kill you, Kelly. Hannah. Miss Hannah, are you there? Would you like mixed ages, large, or grades only, small? So sorry that she is miserable. I wish I could give her a hug. We're going to send her some messages tomorrow. Poor Paigey. She's a trooper. She really is. Okay, Miss Hannah, which size do you want? Or which one do you want? Mixed ages large, pretty please. Yes, ma'am. Sold. Sold. I'm just kidding. Given away. All right, ladies, that's it. We are done for the night. I am so glad you joined us. And this will be up for the replay. If you missed something, you want to go back through. If you've got If you've got things that you think you missed, or you've got people that you want to share it with, we're going to leave it up here. And remember, if you have not purchased your journals and you're planning to, now's the time for the next 11 days. I'm doing a drawing, like 3 drawings for some prizes here. So anyway, I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining me. And I think I'm going to go to bed. And Kelly, I hope your internet improves. And I hope Miss Paige does better. So anyways, love you all. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations to everybody. Make sure you send me your information. Bye now.